Hello, and welcome to...
Here we go. We're going to do a little capture one. I apologize, my brain is really running on fumes. So I'm going to go through the assignment description and basically walk you through that. So here we have a new Capture One session. You'll see I've given it a name, BLF 2023-928-275, right? Blah, 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 same thing that we always do. I'm going to go to the tether icon if you want, or if you don't find it, you can always go here and add it. If it's not there, I'm going to add color. So I'm going to go to that tether thing. I am connected up. I have set my camera's white balance to something that is wrong, and I'm going to go in and make sure that I have my numbering correct, naming correct. So there's the name, backspace that out, dash, I'll just start typing in counter, it'll pop up 1-digit counter, and then I can set it to 3. If right now it's starting at 7, right, so I can just go back here and say reset capture counter. Alright, so now when I hit go, it should take a picture that is proper. Now the one problem that I always do is, there we go, I accidentally type some things in there afterwards. Alright, so here we are. I'm going to go ahead and capture. I have gotten my setup there. My white balance is wrong. My exposure looks pretty good for the camera. I'm going to hit Command K to capture. Alright, that seems a little crazy, but you know, what you're going to do. So, right, that seems pretty overexposed. It's also the wrong white balance. So the first thing I'm going to do is fix the white balance before I fix exposure. Drop that in there. Alright. Here's my gray card. And just in case anything is wonky, I want to reset it. To do that, I can come up here to the top of the tab. There's a little reset button, right? I guess there were some adjustments. I don't know what they were. If you don't see that, you can always control-click up here and say Customize Toolbar and put any of those delightful things that you want in there. I will probably grab some later. Right now it seems okay. Is this light on me very blue? I can't really tell. Let's check. No, it's not. Okay. Alright. I don't know. Is that better? Who can tell? Alright, well, we'll put it on there. That looks a little overexposed. God damn it. That's what happens in your fuss budget. Alright. Alright. Good enough. Whatever. Okay, so I have reset my exposure. I'm going to come in here and grab my white balance tool, W on the keyboard. It's right up here at the top, and click it on one of the gray tabs. First thing you'll notice is a bunch of the overexposure goes away, right? Like it measures stuff that's clipping. There was a lot of crazy blue that was clipping, so it's now knocked that down a fair amount. I'm going to now go ahead and adjust my camera exposure to get a decent image. Alright, I'm shooting from the keyboard because I don't want to bonk my camera. Okay, that looks pretty good. We're getting a little clipping up here, otherwise things look pretty neutral, a little spectral highlight. That seems alright. I'm going to go ahead and white balance again. It will sometimes change when you get good exposure, and then I'm going to take my white balance card out. So now I've got that. Again, am I clipping some stuff? Yeah, a little bit. Do I really worry about that? I guess I say to worry about it in the assignment, so let's worry about it a little bit more. And then we'll bring that exposure back up if we need to. Okay, nothing's clipping, all good. I'm going to take that card, get a new white balance off of it, and take it off the set. Now I will take a shot, make sure my white balance is being inherited. I do notice that hot pink is clipping. That's something that we're going to work with a little bit later. With fluorescent colors, it's kind of a pain in the ass. So with an extreme color like that, let's just leave it alone for the moment. Alright, so the white balance is being inherited. I can check that. Right, if I go back here to my tether thing and go down to next capture adjustments, right, ICC profile, so it's inherited the ICC profile from whatever the last thing that I did was. I'm going to say copy from last. That's going to make me redo my white balance. And then orientation default, metadata default, others copy from last, and styles will set in a sec. So because I changed that ICC profile, I'm just going to set it to generic. You can set it for whatever your camera is. You'll notice I have a whole bunch of them in there because I do that every single time. Okay, once more. Alright. And check my white balance. Which one do you want to click on? I don't know. Doesn't really. Like one of these mid-tone ones, not the dark one, not the light one. Now that I've got that, take another picture without the card in it. And that's pretty good. So now I've got something where only the most extreme tones are clipping. That seems good. I'm going to go ahead and add my copyright metadata. So this is something we talked about but didn't do. So I'm going to go up here to metadata. If you have up here, what is it? I don't know. You can sort of make them a little bit bigger. I don't remember how I made them smaller, but you can do it if you really want to. Okay, so I've gone to my metadata one. Looks like a little eye in a circle. And I'm going to go down here, and there's some stuff that's already there. Why? I don't know. I got rid of it, but there it is. So I'm going to set my creator to me. That's awesome. Photographer, let's spell it without that second H. I can give an address. No, I never do. Okay. And you should put your website, whatever else in there. Then we want to go down to copyright notice, put in copyright, parenthesis C, parenthesis 2023, your name, rights terms, all rights reserved. Cool. So now I've got that metadata in there. I would like to save this as a style so I can use it on my later stuff. To do that, I'm going to go up to Styles, which is this icon. I don't know why. And Styles and Presets, Save Custom Style, and let's scroll down. I want to uncheck everything except, if I twirl open that metadata, copyright notice, usage terms, yeah, I don't know, maybe there's some other stuff in there. Let's save that. And Farwell, I give a name for what it should be in the assignment description, so look at that. Cool. And save. Awesome. So this should now just have that. If I go back to my capture adjustments, next capture adjustments, styles, custom styles, Farwell 2023 copyright, should have that info in there. This is kind of convenient, makes your life a little bit better, blah, blah, blah. Alright, so we've got our copyright metadata. Whoops. Take a picture. Let's see if it is in there. Yep, there it is, looking good. So that's awesome. So dial in your composition, right? Two things that I'm going to do as part of this. I'm going to crop it. Crop is up at the top. It's just C on the keyboard. Drop that down. You can choose a ratio. I'm going to go 4:5. Okay. I'm going to crop that in. You know, it is what it is. I'm going to do some keystoning, which I don't remember if I said I was going to do that or not. Keystoning is just the letter K, not Command K. Command K is capture on the keyboard, and if you sort of drag these verticals to two vertical lines, it should straighten them out. This one, I don't really have a lot in the way of good vertical lines. I'm just going to fudge it. Okay. Alright. Cool. Is this particularly good? No, it's not. But I'm homesick and you are not, so do a better job. Okay, we've got the exposure there. Let's go in and make some adjustments, right? So that's up here in this tab. We can adjust the exposure. I'm going to bring the highlight range down a little bit. Right, you'll notice I have my exposure warning on there, so that helps that. I don't know, that seems to bring this down a little bit too much, so I'm going to undo that. I'm going to go ahead and go to curves, right, bring that up. Okay, bring the exposure up a little bit. Alright, let's pretend that that seems good. Cool, so this is our baseline exposure. We recognize that this is fucked up. So what are we going to do about that? We are going to use a layer to do some color adjustment. So you can do color adjustment as part of your baseline image. So you can do that up here under color. Right, if you don't have it, you can go here, Add Tool tab, and add color. Mine happens to be here already. White balance is there. You can also sort of select color ranges, and adjust those. Sort of how quickly it does anything will depend on how laggy your computer is. Right, you can see that yellow going to a green, going to an orange, clipping a little bit. I can go here to that magenta and shift it over, bring it down a little bit, and you'll see that that now doesn't clip. So that's one way that we can do that. Let's assume that we've dialed in the color as we want, because I'm going to do this in another step. That other step is going to be working with layers. So here is our layers tab, right? And by the way, this is all stuff you can do at home, right? You don't need to be doing this stuff during class. You can get the shots, get them in there, and then hand off, let the next person go. So same thing, right? I'm going to go up here to layers, right? Twiddle that open. If you don't see it, right, I'm in the colors tab. If you don't see it, you can go down, right click, control click, do add tool, and choose layers, and it'll drop it in there. Has a list of layers. There's only one. It's background, right? Anything you do on the background layer. Layers are helpful for two reasons. One is for spotting. Two is for making adjustments where we do some masks. We're not going to do masks today, but keep them in mind. So I'm going to make a new layer, right? Here we have layer, go down here to that, plus, new adjustment layer, let's rename it Fix Pink. Okay, I'm going to go down now to Color Editor, go to Advanced, and with the Advanced Color Editor, instead of just choosing a whole tone, you can choose a particular color. So I'm going to grab this little tool, click on that hot pink, and it now gives me just that color range, and I can try and dial it down a little bit. Gotta say, that is not doing shit at all. Aha! Why is it not doing anything? Because the layer is empty. So every layer, if you make it just add, it's going to come in with no mask on it. Control click, right click on that layer name and fill mask. Boom, right? Now it's affecting the whole image, and you can see that, as I thought, that is way too much. So let's bring that saturation, zero that out, turn exposure warning back on, and now we can bring that down a little bit. Perfect. Cool. The other thing that we can do in a layer is we can do spotting. So if you go up here in that layers menu, there's a little band-aidy thing, click on that, right, same as Photoshop, left bracket, make it bigger, smaller. You can control click to, to set brush size and stuff like that. I'm just going to shrink it down, and there are a couple little bits of crud on here I want to get rid of. So I'm going to click on it. Oh, I Command Z'd, don't have it anymore. Alright, let's try it again. Grab that tool. There we go. So it automatically should make a new heal layer. I Command Z to get out of what I was doing, and so it missed it. You can see it gives you a little source destination arrow. Doesn't seem to do a whole hell of a lot. Opacity, yes. Yeah. And there we go. There we go. Cool. Alright, so now I can hit V to get out of there. God damn it, there's that one again. Grab that. I'm going to get rid of those three things and try it once more. Oh, you know why? Because that was crud on my screen, not crud in my picture. That's fairly amusing. Okay, cool. So we got rid of the one piece that was there. We didn't get rid of the one piece that was fictitious, and we are good. This will also be inherited, right? So if I take another shot, all of these adjustments should be included, including that spotting. This is incredibly helpful. As long as you don't shift camera position. If you're working on a tripod, you're fine. So you'll use at least 2 layers to adjust the color using the advanced color editor. You'll take at least 2 pictures with this perfect quote-unquote shot, and then you'll make a clone variant and use a layer to make it wonky. So control or right click, right click, clone variant, right? So it's a new copy that looks exactly the same, and then go in here, new layer, crazy color, or stigmatized mental health, wonky color. I'm fine stigmatizing Johnny Depp. Fill mask, grab that, right, in the advanced color editor, grab that little tool. I'm going to go down here to the oranges, and I'm going to shift the hue of those noticeably, right? That's definitely something that I can tell. So that is good. So that is your shot for the still life. You're done. Again, starting at step 10, you can do it at home, but I've gone through all of them, obviously. But this is basically the same as the other one. If you look at all the steps, they're mostly the same. I've created a new camera countery thing. I realize I'm missing a dash between that. I'm going to get rid of that and make my counter, 1-digit counter. I guess when I reset it, it redid that. Okay, cool. So that should be good. I already have my copyright info, so you should have that from the other one. I've set my white balance to be something that is wrong. Since I can't be in front of the camera and I can't ask somebody else to be in front of the camera, I've got a mannequin head in front of the camera. So I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of my friend, the mannequin head. Cool, right, so white balance is off, all that good stuff. Just like the other one, go ahead and put this up here, right? I am shooting with a relatively faster shutter speed, so I'm going to go ahead and take a picture using my hand. Not normally something I would do. Okay, there is my white balance card. Awesome. Reset. Awesome. White balance. Grab a... Right, so I'm going to grab my white balance tool. That seems weird. Why is it weird? Let's go to color. Okay, it's because I'm still in my advanced color whatever thing from last time. I don't want that. I want my white balance. If I go up here to the top, you can see that I can choose pick white balance. Up there, boom. There we go. That seems okay. Alright, adjust my camera exposure so that I'm not clipping anything. Again, this is going to be a little tricky because it is so contrasty. I'm going to worry about the highlights and not so much the shadows. So, okay, I'm going to turn off my exposure warning. That looks relatively okay. Should I have some fill? I should have some fill. I should have a better picture. I should have a person in it, but you get what you get. Alright, cool. So that's still a little blown out. I'm going to bring that down again. I'm shooting with continuous lighting, so I'm just bringing the shutter speed, making it a little bit faster. Okay, that seems pretty good. We're clipped on the blacks, but the highlights seem pretty okay. Alright, so with those looking good, same thing, go in and take another white balance card because I've changed my settings. Are you getting glare on the white balance card? I don't know, maybe, like, you know, be rational. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Alright, white balance is being inherited. Yes, add your copyright metadata. I've already made that, so it may already be being added. I'm going to go to next capture adjustments, generic. Alright, styles, custom styles, Brad 2023 copyright. Perfect. So now if I do that, I should have it in there. That looks absolutely awesome. Okay, so copyright's in there, metadata stuff is in there. I'm going to make my picture black and white. So this is where we deviate a little bit, but also where, well, yeah. So I'm going to go to the color tab, which is right there, and there is a thing that says black and white. Let's see if it's also right over my, okay, there we go. Enable black and white, right? We've got split toning in there the same as we do with everything else. It's hard to see a difference because it was a fairly monochrome thing to begin with, right? If we were a little bit more colorful, that would be a little bit more apparent. Again, what you gonna do? So with that, right, I can now go in and crop it. I'm going to crop this one to 2 to 3. All right, so hit the crop tool, come down here, 2 to 3. That's our native resolution, so it's going to keep what we already have as we crop it in. Make a layer and do some spotting, right? Talked about that in the last one. Adjust the curves and high dynamic range to get a good shot. So here we have our high dynamic range. We can bring up those shadow values if we want to get a little bit more tone in there. That's kind of fun. Right, so now if I look at it, you know, we're not clipping as much. Let's see if I can adjust my exposure up a little bit more. Alright. That seems reasonable. Okay. So there's an image. Doesn't look terrible. We've cropped it 2 to 3. These steps can be done at home, so same as with the others. So once you've got it looking good, take 5 pictures with that good shot. Again, it should look more black and white than this one does. Maybe here, if I give it a hat. Boom. Okay, now we can tell it's black and white. So that is good. All these things are awesome. The rest of it, right, pretty much the same as what we did last time. You're going to export a bunch of pictures. Again, you do that from home, so take your session with you. You will export them two different ways. One is the recipe we used last time, so if you have it there on your computer, you can use it again. That's cool. If you don't, you can make a new recipe. That's fine. The other, and again, remember, look at all the steps, right? There's some other things that we should do, like spotting and whatever. You can also go in and make your new recipe for the second file type, which is going to be a full size. So I'm going to say new recipe. Full size JPEG, cool. There we go, looks awesome. It's just going in the same folder wherever the other stuff was, going into output by default. Naming, right, there's some naming that you should be doing. Right now it's going to export it as image name, right? When you're working with a client, that's probably the best choice. You're welcome to export these to the names that I specify or rename them later. The important thing for the full size is to come down here to export format and size, JPEG, quality, 100%, and then scale fixed and 100, right? So that's the important bit. So it's saying export it at 100% size, whatever image you have, that's going to be what you get. You are only doing that for some of the pictures. Right? You're exporting all those preliminaries with a smaller size. Look at the piece of paper. You're exporting just those final, I think it's like 5 portraits and 3 still life images, just exporting those as the full-size images. So good luck. Holler at me if you have any questions, and I will be back next week.